Raise a glass, let the worry slip away. Liquid lunch, we're living for today. There's Troy laughing with his gin and a grin, telling stories about where he's been. Boomer's got whiskey, he's loosening his tie, chasing dreams under a midday sky. The bartender knows us, he's mixing with flair. Every sip's a moment we're happy to share. Liquid lunch, pour it smooth, let it flow. Friends round the table where the good times grow. Raise a glass, let the worry slip away. Liquid lunch, we're living for today. The clock don't matter, we're lost in the vibe. Jazz in the air, feel the soul come alive. From martinis to bourbon, we're riding the wave. Stealing this hour, it's the freedom we crave. Sun's still shining, but we're in our zone. This bar's our shelter, our temporary home. One more round before the world calls us back. Savor the moment, keep the blues in the rack. We'll laugh and we'll toast till the afternoon fades. Memories made in these liquid escapades. Liquid lunch, pour it smooth, let it flow. Friends round the table where the good times grow. Raise a glass, let the worry slip away. Liquid lunch, we're living for today. So here's to the daylight, the drinks and the fun. Our liquid lunch, till the next one comes. With a wink and a smile, we'll be back real soon. Chasing that jazz under the high noon.
Vasalut and welcome. Yeah, it's absolutely a Monday. I have been going like gangbusters here behind the scenes. Technically, I consider myself late. But think I got the stream shared out. Oh my gosh, I am running behind. Technical difficulties don't streams multi-streams popping up that shouldn't be. I don't know what's going on with these platforms today. I guess technology has a case of the Mondays as well. But welcome everyone to Liquid Lunch and the start of another business week. And I hope you are all doing well. I hope you all had a wonderful weekend. Let's get to what all of you guys are saying out there today. Starting with Big Al. Big Al Presents says, happy Monday, Liquid Lunchers. Have a great stream, my friend. Some crazy things in Hollywood last night. Well, it is Hollywood, right? So you kind of expect crazy, but if you're referring to the most likely thing, that's tragically crazy and sadly not. I mean, any specific example of that kind of tragedy is a surprise, but in general, it's not so much. We'll probably talk a little bit more about that as we get into the stream here. Mark Melnikoff says, Mech po! Bartender, blood wine. Make sure it's warm and a large bowl of fresh. Gach! Like, share, subscribe, and become a member. Do the clicky thing. Da! Funny you should mention both blood wine and Gach. Thanks to a recent video that I saw, and actually Big Al letting me know about it. just picked up the new Star Trek cookbook. This is actually a Klingon dish on the cover. Not as many Klingon dishes as I had hoped for, but there is a new take on gach and blood wine, both of which I look forward to trying. I love you too, Netter of Netter's Network. She says, like, share, subscribe, become a member, leave a comment, gift a membership if you're feeling generous. Yes, please share out this stream because I'm not entirely certain that I got it shared out myself today. So with all the craziness that was going on over here. I am doing a membership drive. You can become a member for as little as $2 a month to help keep this channel going. I'm not even being hyperbolic about that. If I'm going to continue to do the YouTube thing, I do need to make it maybe not profitable, but at least I need to be able to justify the costs involved in what I do here. And yes, one of the other membership perks is the weekly membership stream, the private members night at the movie, where well, you'll find out more about that during the promo section. But I am trying to reach 100 members by the end of the year. I'm 3/4 of the way there. Really kind of biting my nails, and well, I don't really have any nails anymore. And trying to get to 2,000 subscribers. The subscriber number is not moving. I don't know what's happening, but if you guys are sharing it out, your friends are ignoring you. So please do everything you can to spread the word about this channel. If you enjoy this channel, I should think your friends who presumably like a lot of the same things you do would enjoy the channel as well. Hail to you, Connie Cleary, the bird woman of YouTube and Fluff Chick Productions. Good to see you. And greetings to CK, the longest running superhero RPG on Earth. On a new Star Trek cookbook. Oh, a new Star Trek cookbook. It's not that new. I guess it's been around a while and I just didn't know about it. That's kind of how out of touch I've been with, these franchises that I've been ignoring because they're effectively dying. I see the best Klingon chef in the quadrant working hard in the ship's galley. Yes, exactly. Ling Ta is what is on the cover here. I definitely want to try that in the very near future. The gach recipe, I find a little bit surprising. It's similar to the recipe I've always used, but also very different. And I'm kind of curious to see how that turns out. I want to definitely give it a try. So anyway, yeah, let me real quick. Again, I'm way behind the 8 ball here. Let me see if I can find a quick. Probably not. Give me just a second here. Here we go. So yeah, let's do this. F11, it's already zoomed in. So this is obviously the biggest piece of news going right now. So it's hard for it not to be something that I'm thinking about right now. Let me share my screen. Yep, Rob Reiner and his wife are dead, and their son Nick is booked on suspicion of murder. There was a situation several years back right here in my neighborhood, which is, a leafy suburb. There's barely any crime to speak of in this neighborhood. But just a few doors down from us, about three or four doors down from us, and again, this was several years ago. There was all these Mars lights, lighting up the street, and we looked out and couldn't see what was going on. We assumed sometimes this happens because we live on a main street. Sometimes there's an accident and they got to close off a lane and situations like that. But this is funny. Welcome, Pops. He says we got to get Troy a Christmas fedora. Yeah, I thought about that. Maybe a red and white striped brim or something for this one. I don't know. Something. But something to think about. And we're not really nosy. We look out to see if it's anything that's going to directly affect us. If it's not, we go back about our business. Got a knock at the door, and the police were there. And yes, can we help you? And they said, yeah, there's been a situation a few doors down. We were wondering if you've seen anything, any, strange vehicles, blah, 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 this and that. I hadn't, but I guess Netter had seen a vehicle that was out of the ordinary, didn't think anything of it. You just assume someone's got visitors, but she told him, described it, what time she saw it. Again, nothing that she would have reported because, didn't seem it was out of the ordinary in that we'd never seen the vehicle before, but not out of the ordinary that we do occasionally see vehicles that we don't recognize because, like, our next door neighbor has family that comes to visit them from time to time and so forth. So, you don't think much about that. Turns out that the neighbor, an elderly gentleman, had been murdered by his son, who was drug addicted, and literally broken into his father's house to steal some money for drugs, stabbed his father, and lit the bedroom on fire in an attempt to cover the crime. It didn't go well. The fire did not really catch. And this was all information that we got, after the fact, from the other brother of the victim, or of the perpetrator, the other son of the victim, I should say. And one of the things he was sharing, it's a tragic thing. There's nothing funny about it, but a little cock up that happened that he could chuckle about later. The police went to arrest him, and he's like, "No, you don't want me. You want my brother." And ordinarily, the cops are like, "Yeah, you can tell the judge or whatever," but they stopped and listened, and they were like, "Oh, we've got the wrong sibling. It was not this person." So I honestly don't know whatever came of it. I'm assuming they probably caught him. If they knew who it was, it's not difficult to find someone these days. And it was just tragic. And the brother was saying, yeah, he's had problems for a long time, haven't been able to help him. And what's terrible is, he literally killed our father over pocket change. I mean, that is just absolutely senseless. The other thing was the victim was, I did mention he was elderly. He had respiratory problems, so he was on oxygen. So the assumption was starting a fire would, kaboo, and it didn't catch the oxygen tank. I mean, thankfully for the property situation and whatnot, nothing to be done for the victim. But anyway. A little follow-up from Netter. She said the brother was arrested, served like 10 years family managed to pretty much keep it quiet. Well, that's fine. I mean, all that I really care about as a neighbor is, did the murderer get captured? That's all I care about. He's off the street. I don't really need to know their personal details, right? It's not like it's a famous person who I'm going to hear the details about whether I want to or not. And that's pretty much the case here. The reason I share that is because I'm just showing how common this kind of a situation is. And apparently it happened to Rob Reiner and his wife. Their son, Nick, is booked on suspicion of the murder. So this came in, this hit the wires literally while Boomer and I were on the Geeky Geezers. And the thing is, I didn't want to talk about it last night because we didn't know any details. I didn't really feel great about speculating, although the speculation just starts going, right? And Geeky Geezers isn't usually, this just in kind of news outlet. We're more of a amalgamated over the week and give you the news brief on what happened during the week. It looks like CK has a similar story. Used to live in Ashland, Ohio. Quiet town. Yeah, I know Ashland. Small. Still wouldn't let my kids run free in the 2000s because there are crazies out there. People gave me crap. Turns out our street was killer. Yeah. So the old ladies giving me a hard time for being overprotective got to eat crow. Yeah. You when you have to be concerned about your family and their safety, I don't care what anyone says. If they choose to live with blinders on and not pay attention to the reality of how dangerous things can be, look, you don't gamble with your kids' lives. You just don't. And yeah, from what I've heard, Ashland, Mansfield, those are very rural, quiet towns, but that's also a place where people, especially struggling, have a tendency to indulge in very dangerous and very illegal substances that they are capable of cooking themselves in their own kitchens. And that doesn't tend to go very well. But, yep, hope for the best, but always be prepared for the worst. That's absolutely right. And if you have the means, really prepare for the worst. So let's get into this. This is I've heard a lot of stuff, but I want to see what's actually been confirmed. What we know now: a son of legendary Hollywood director Rob Reiner and his wife, producer Michelle Singer Reiner. Nick Reiner is being held on suspicion of murder following their deaths, according to Los Angeles Police Department Chief Jim McDonnell. He's being held on $4 million bail. This is not me being flippant or snide in any way. I am just sharing an actual fact. You decide whether or not you consider it ironic or not. But Michelle Singer is the individual who took the photograph of Donald Trump for his book, Art of the Deal. Just happens to be the case. Do with that what you will. Los Angeles Police Department detectives arrived at the Reiners' home on Sunday and are investigating an apparent homicide. I understand why they say things the way they do for legal reasons. An apparent homicide, it's from what I've heard, I guess it was a knifing. They were stabbed to death. An apparent homicide. You think, I mean, this isn't what you'd call natural causes. It's not like a knife suddenly materialized in their bodies, multiple times or something like that. If you have a knife wound in the back, it's a darn difficult way to commit suicide. And you probably, your knives generally don't go off while you're cleaning them. Reiner's prolific work include directing When Harry Met Sally, The Princess Bride, and A Few Good Men. His breakout role was as Archie Bunker's son-in-law on TV's All in the Family. It's absolutely true. So that's what's up. That's basically all that is known. Everything else is going to be fluff, tribute to him, talking about what he has contributed to Hollywood. I'm sure there's plenty of negative things being said about him because he put a lot of negativity out there on social media. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but it is what it is. That's how social media works. So Mark says, better to have and not need it than to need it and not have it. I wonder who taught me that. Yeah. Absolutely true. This is not the kind of, when I first heard that they before they said that it was his son, but that it had been a knife attack. You usually don't assume, a family member. You assume, okay, California, this is probably a break-in of some kind. Or, you assume it's a robbery, but with a celebrity, it could be some deranged person just didn't like him and, wanted to whatever. You don't immediately go to it was a family member in a family situation. So that really changes the dynamic on the whole self-defense situation, right? Because defending yourself against a home invader you don't know, you do what you have to do, and don't think too much about it until after the fact. When it's your son, that may change the dynamic. You may not be as inclined to protect yourself by taking that kind of action. I don't know. I don't know what their family relationship was or anything like that. It is tragic. It really, really is. Longest running superhero says like, shares, and like, subscribe, and comment. Yes, please do those things. And Tired Midnight Vlogger has just joined us saying it is lunchtime. Yes, it is. Welcome, Nate, who says like, share, subscribe, comment, and become a member. And if you were going to give a super chat of $5 or more, why not gift a membership instead to make our family grow? Yes, please do that. That would help me out tremendously. This weekend has been a roller coaster of tragedies. So I'm getting ready to go to the promos because I do want to refill my drink. Welcome, by the way, Jonathan Conroy. Thank you for being here. Big Al commented at the top of the show, and I assume when people talk about tragedies this weekend, they're talking about this Rob Reiner situation. Was there something else oh yes, there was the whole Bondi situation too. I tend to be US focused, but yeah, that's pretty bad too. Well, that's in my head now. That's probably something that we'll touch on when we come back on the other side of the promos. Let me go ahead and load those up, and then we'll talk some more on the other side.
You are watching Liquid Lunch, streaming every weekday at noon Central, 1 p.m. Eastern. Let's sip together. Every Monday night is Members Night at the movies on Last Call. Members enjoy an exclusive watch party just for them, and you can join too for as little as $1.99 a month. This week, the members have chosen, in a last-moment surprise, The Shop Around the Corner from 1940. Two employees at a gift shop, portrayed by Margaret Sullivan and James Stewart, can barely stand each other without realizing that they are falling in love through the post as each other's anonymous pen pal. Members, please join us tonight at 9 Central, 10 Eastern, and if you're not a member, please consider it. It really helps support what we do here at Last Call. Thanks.
This week on Last Call presents The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes. A young woman fears for her life and asks for Holmes's help when her ill-tempered stepfather moves her into the same room where her sister died under mysterious circumstances. Can Holmes save young Miss Helen Stoner from the Speckled Band? Find out this week on Last Call Presents, Tuesday at 9 Central, 10 Eastern.
This week on Big Al Presents Films with Friends. The Muppets put their spin on the tale of an elder Christmas-hating miser who is visited by spirits who foretell his future and share secrets from his past and present, which helps change his view on life. Michael Caine and Jim Henson's Muppets star in the Christmas classic, The Muppet Christmas Carol, on Big Al Presents Films with Friends, this Saturday at 9 Central, 10 Eastern.
In a world where nearly all the entertainment is remakes, reboots, and rehashes of older properties, maybe it's worth it to get some commentary from people who experienced it all when it was novel and fresh. Catch Boomer and Pacelli on Geeky Geezers every Sunday night at 8 Central, 9 Eastern.
We now return to our liquid lunch.
Nate says, as a father of two boys, I couldn't imagine that situation. I think I would probably die before I'd kill one of my sons, even if they were trying to kill me. That's kind of what I was getting at. I tend to agree. I think you get to that point where you're like, you know what? I'm not even sure I want to go on if this is, where I'm at with my family. There's been so many tragedies, mass attacks on Jews around the world. See, I had heard about a couple of shootings at universities. I'm sad to say they've become so common. I haven't even been focusing on them all that much. But yeah, the Bondi thing in Australia was probably because of the name of the beach. Bondi. There's an irony there. Let me just say it that way. Yes, I had heard about Brown University. I didn't know that it was specifically, I should have guessed, it's becoming super, super common. Your wife has been watching various YouTube commenters cover all the attacks over the weekend. I didn't realize, I knew about the Brown one, heard about the Bondi one. And then of course, the most recent thing was the whole, I almost said Carl Reiner, the Rob Reiner, situation. So yeah, things are pretty bad. Look up the 1977 film, The Death of Richie. It's about this exact situation. We were shown in junior high in social studies class. Father ends up shooting his son in order to save himself and his wife. See, yeah, that's the other thing too. You're not just protecting yourself. You also have to think about, who else are you trying to protect there? And if a family member puts you in a situation of having to decide between them and someone else, you got to be prepared for those kinds of situations, which I can't even imagine. I can't even imagine how you prepare yourself for something like that. But I've always kind of lived by if you're the one who makes me choose, you're not the one I'm going to choose, is how I usually think of it. So welcome to the Horror King. Good to see you, my friend. Always good to see you. There was a shop. I'm surprised shopping malls even still exist as a thing. they seem to be disappearing more and more. But yeah, so here's what I think really turns my stomach the most. It's bad enough when you have clearly racially motivated violence against a specific group of people. And especially when we've had a century of never again, right? We've that's been the mantra, never again, never again, never again. And it's literally happening again, you know? And we throw around the National Socialist German Party as an epithet instead of recognizing that this is still happening. They just aren't German. But it's okay because they're some other ethnicity that we want to show our support for, because ethnicity good, white bad. People really need to get their heads out of their asses. They really do. You need to start paying attention to what's happening, deal with reality, and quit making excuses for people. You know, quit ignoring obvious things because you're afraid of being called a racist. You're looking at the color of a person's skin. Well, I'm sorry, but if I keep looking at all these crimes and, you know, the vast majority of them are of a specific background, right? Apparently it's okay to do it with men and women, right? Men commit the vast majority of violent crimes. So it's okay to talk about gender in relation, but if it's somebody who's not sure about their gender, you can't talk about that. Can't talk about that. This is the kind of stupidity that allows this kind of thing to happen. If you are enforcing the law, you need to enforce the law. And someone is critical of you, too damn bad. You think I've done something wrong? There are remedies for that. The mayor in the Australia attack says that they are investigating the motive. I understand that in the early aftermath of a crime, until you have all the evidence, until the investigation is complete, until you have all suspects in custody, you're preparing to press charges, and so on and so forth. There's only so much you can say. I get that. Even though it may seem obvious, you got to dot your I's and cross your T's. The problem is that these same politicians never come out later and say, well, yep, these people were tied to this organization, or it does seem to be racially motivated. They, this is what happened, this is what they said. Here's the other thing too. You've got media and politicians covering up for these murderers. And oftentimes it's the murderers themselves that are the first ones to say, yep, I did this and this is why. They're proud of it. When someone tells you who they are, believe them. Rachel just told me the survivors of the Brown shooting, that's the university, right, are saying the shooter came into the classroom and yelled, Allah Akbar, and the media refuses to report it. Of course they do. Of course they do. This is why the media is dying. This is why so-called mainstream media nobody trusts. It's not even just, a segment of political philosophy that, is screaming about, a conspiracy or something like that. It's the general population that no longer trusts the media. When it gets that bad, it's that obvious. It's absolutely ridiculous. Something was yelled. We think it was snack bar. Yeah, exactly. Because that's a thing people say before they start shooting up a classroom, right? Snack bar. Is that like food fight? I don't know. People are just stupid. And they think everybody's stupid. They honestly think that people are going to believe that. I mean, do they not have enough sense of dignity? Aren't they embarrassed to say stupid crap like that on a news report? I mean, there comes a point where I would look at my notes and go, I'm not going on saying this. This is ridiculous. Yeah. But our leftist politicians here and in Australia are going right to more gun control, as I predicted, and that wasn't much of a reach. Yeah. Australia has some of the strictest gun policies in the world, and this happens. So your solution is to make sure that people that want to defend themselves are undefended so that more of this can happen. Because you're not defending them. You're not protecting them. David Pensak, good afternoon. Just popped in to say hello and wish you and everyone a happy Monday. Happy Monday to you as well. Whoops. Late for the doctor's appointment. I hope everything goes well, CK. I hope you get a good, clean bill of health. I really, really do. I've been seeing a lot of people having a lot of health problems recently, people that I care about, and that's why I have begun wishing everyone good health and take care of themselves. Because if you don't have your own health, what have you got, right? Really hard to have life and have it to the fullest when you are in pain, when you're having trouble breathing, when you can't get out of bed, any number of things. Yeah. But it's also hard to enjoy your life when you're afraid to go out of your house because you have to worry about what that other guy is going to do. The suspect is a white man wearing no hat. He was literally a conservative firing his gun in celebration. Yeah, that's right. That is right. That's what the media said about the Charlie Kirk incident. Speaking of the Charlie Kirk incident, bringing this back to the meathead. I'm sorry. I'm always going to call him meathead. And I don't want to hear anyone say about not saying anything bad about the dead. I talk about the dead the way I talk about them in life. Your living status doesn't change my opinion of you. I would say these things to his face. So why should I not say them, after he dies? But he did have nice things to say. Not nice things. I don't want to say, that's probably the wrong way to put it. Very sensible things in the wake of the Charlie Kirk assassination. He didn't really say anything negative about Charlie Kirk, at least during that time. And he said it's a tragedy. This should never happen. He had nothing but good things to say about Charlie's wife. So you shouldn't. you shouldn't feel the need to, give someone props for saying the decent thing. But in this day and age in Hollywood, you kind of have to. So I think at least that earns him the right to not be terribly persecuted in his death under equally tragic circumstances. Really messed up my knee. It hurts like a son of a bitch. Oh gosh, yeah. When just getting around, just walking hurts. That's tough. And Senator Chris Murphy, Mr. Anti-2A, yeah, no kidding, was always all over the media blaming the president for the shooting. That's the most ridiculous thing in the world. That is why we have this problem. You keep pointing the finger at your scapegoat instead of actually taking the time to understand the actual problem and address it. If your car breaks down overheating, you don't yell and scream and bitch and moan about how much gas you have in your gas tank, because that wasn't the problem. And it's not going to get fixed if you keep putting more gas in the gas tank. Okay? You got to fix the radiator or figure out what's causing the overheating situation. I love that line from the Untouchables. And it is from the Untouchables. This isn't a historic line from Al Capone, where Al Capone says, he's talking about being investigated for tax evasion. And he says, they do this, they trump up these charges that have no basis in fact because they can't get me on anything else, right? If I stole, you should come to me and say you stole, not, come at me for spitting on the sidewalk or something. That's basically what these gun grabbers do. You're a law-abiding citizen. You're a victim. We want to victimize you even more by making sure you can't protect yourself. Because somehow that's going to make everyone safer. Somehow. Right? We have no idea why he did it. I guess he had a history of drug use. So maybe it was like the neighbor down the street, his son killed him for drug money. That seems like the most plausible, but when it is a domestic situation, you have no idea. We just literally watched Goodbye, Christopher Robin, and resentment against your father for perceived, issues growing up and so forth. There could be something of that too. Who knows? But yeah, I feel like whenever something like this comes up, your mind kind of screams for what can be done about this. And sometimes these problems are too big yes, it's important to think these things through, understand the problem, try to decide as a society what should be done about these things, start moving to affect those kinds of changes, whether it's getting messages out, taking to social media, voting, running for office yourself if you have to. But there are more immediate thoughts you should be having. What do I do if a situation like this comes up? How do I protect my family and myself? I can't solve the problems of the world, the country, even my state, but within my home, how can I deal with things that might come up? And sometimes that's as simple as prevention. Maybe look at your relationship with your family. Make sure it's good and healthy, so that there isn't some sort of resentment that could lead to some kind of tragedy down the way. Remember, you don't just wake up one day, after always having a happy, wonderful relationship with your family and go, hey, I feel like killing everyone today. No, that always starts with something else. Animosities, angers that fester and grow. That kind of rot has to happen in your soul before you start taking such heinous actions. Even if it's just as simple as mental illness, that usually doesn't happen overnight. The signs are there over time. And if you are in a good, healthy relationship with someone you are close to, if you are really close to them, you will notice that something is off. And you should be, if you have compassion for that person, striving to help them in any way that you can. Did you know that Al Capone created the sell-by date because his legitimate business was delivering milk? I did not know that. There is a certain irony there that an outlaw, someone that tries to avoid executive regulation, right? Avoid the law, countermand the law, is responsible for a government control that didn't exist before. The whole idea of the sell-by date, and remember, there's the difference between sell-by date or best buy date. There are products on the market that don't really go off, but you might not want them after a certain date. This is true especially of the dry spices in your cabinet. Check the dates on those. If they're past the best by date, it's best to throw them out because they are not going to be doing you any favors when you go putting them into your food for they lose their flavor. It's not worth it. But sell by is usually for things like milk that absolutely do go bad. It goes bad and it doesn't get better. So, but the fact is that the regulatory commissions in this country were only ever meant to be advisory. They were supposed to, mandate that you put labels on things. They were never meant to prevent you from buying cigarettes. They were only ever allowed to tell you, warning. The vast number of scientists believe that tobacco causes cancer. Just so you know, warning labels. This is why every time I hear somebody on what I would consider my side of the aisle saying they should take this drug off the market, they should take that drug off the market, they should be very careful when you say that. Even if you've been following the science and that this is more dangerous than what's being told, who are you to say that someone shouldn't have the right to that? Potentially therapeutic, right? May not be good for you, may not be good for your family. Maybe they think it's good for them and they have a right, their body, their choice, right? I am not in favor of the you can't have this. You can't have this experimental drug. You can't have this raw milk. You can't have this unpasteurized dairy product made by a local farmer or made by yourself. Your own cow. We're gonna come tell you can't have it. I'm not in favor of that. Because it's bad for you. We don't want you to have this plant that you smoke that makes you feel good. You're not allowed because we've decided. That's not freedom. That's tyranny. Bought a jar of honey this weekend that has an expiration date on it. Honey doesn't expire. This is what I'm talking about. There are laws, blanket laws, that say that everything has to have an expiration date on it, including water. Bottled water has an expiration date on it. It doesn't go bad. If it gets contaminated, it can become, it could require treatment. It could require distillation, right? It could become brackish. But unlike milk, that ain't coming back. It's bad and it ain't coming back. Spoiled meat isn't coming back. It's not going to get less spoiled. Water, you absolutely can boil out bacteria. You can filter out particulates. Water can be treated. So you have every right to buy it if you want to buy it. Worf broke his back. Yes. What saved him? An experimental treatment. Yeah. There are laws called right to try laws. If you've exhausted all standard of care options, and your situation is absolutely terminal, better a chance at survival than just sitting and waiting to die, right? And here's the even more bizarre logic or lack of logic, right? You have lawmakers in this country and other countries pushing for you to have the right to cease your endeavor to stay on this planet if you so choose. But if you are trying to survive, you are not allowed certain procedures because they are not recognized as appropriate because they have decided. They literally are trying to stack the deck in favor of your death. These lawmakers. Just putting it out there. I would, yes, to a certain degree, you're right. You're talking about the BPFs or whatever it is, those chemicals that leach out of plastic into your water. That it starts the moment the water goes into that plastic containers. I would encourage people to get away from plastic as much as possible. And if you're using plastic bowls and cups, just pay attention to what they look like over time as you've been washing them and that plastic begins to break down. That stuff ain't good. The same is true for milk in plastic jugs. As soon as you get it, it's already got those chemicals from the plastic in it. If you are near a dairy that still uses glass containers for milk, much better option. Much better option. Yeah, it's interesting because they've kind of done a 180 on that, right? They went after Kevorkian because he was. I mean, you could argue that he was literally murdering people, right? Or contributing to people's deaths, because literally that's what that is. You are an accessory to a crime, right? And now you have states that are trying to enshrine doctors' abilities to do what Dr. Kevorkian did. Heck, it's become the standard of care in Canada. My arm's a little bit sore. Hey, if this is really impinging on your quality of life, have you considered medical assistance in dying? Hey, Doc, I've been feeling a little depressed lately, having some problems with my bills and, just lost some family members. Oh, really? Have you considered medical assistance in dying? I don't know if I can afford that treatment. Well, what about medical assistance in dying? I didn't. I was focused on the topic at hand. In France, they keep their milk in cupboard containers, and it's unpasteurized. Yes. Now, it doesn't have that long a shelf life, right? This is pasteurization isn't for safety. It's for convenience. It's so that the milk will last longer. What it also does is it kills the healthy bacteria that you want. It also denatures the proteins in it, so it isn't as healthy for you as it would be. But it's convenient. Look, you don't need pasteurized milk. You need to get fresh milk from a local dairy that raises their own dairy cows. Buy local. And if you want preserved milk for recipes and for baking and so on and so forth, that's what the Carnation canned milk is for. That's obviously pasteurized. It's been boiled and it's been canned and it's got a long shelf life. So when you need it for a recipe, boom, you got it. There's also dehydrated milk, which you can make as you need it. But if you want good, healthy milk, go to your local Amish farmer. That's what you should do. Unless you're in Pennsylvania, you may not be able to. You might have to order it from your local Pennsylvania farmer from outside the state and then bring it, smuggle it in across the state lines. That's a whole other thing. Yes, I did see that. Thank you for the recommendation, Wade. Great channel. Make sure you follow his channel. Take Care of the Horror King. Yes, we're wrapping up right now. The milk in France has a month shelf life. They don't even refrigerate it until after they open the cardboard container. Interesting. And it's not pasteurized? Interesting. Anyway, that's probably a topic for another day. Sorry to have such a dismal start to the week, but let's face it, this was what was on my mind because this is what's been happening this weekend, guys. So I am going to say once again, take care of yourselves and each other. Hope for the best, but plan for the worst. Stay healthy. If you're not healthy, get healthy. Make that a focus in your life. Because if you're not healthy, it's hard to enjoy life. Stay hydrated, drink responsibly, and I'll see you all on the next one. Members, tonight, the shop around the corner. Take care, everyone.
Goodbye. Hope to see you again real soon.
So here's to the daylight, the drinks and the fun, our liquid lunch, till the next one comes. With a wink and a smile, we'll be back real soon, chasing that jazz under the high noon.